The landing site in Nevada's desert had been transformed into a combination of high-security military installation and diplomatic reception area. World leaders watched from a safe distance. Scientists clutched instruments, ready to take readings. And Elena stood at the forefront of the small, welcoming committee, heart thundering in her chest as Thaler's sleek, silver vessel touched down with barely a whisper of sound. For one long minute, nothing happened. Then a seam appeared in the hull, widening into a doorway bathed in soft blue light. A tall, slender figure emerged, pausing at the top of the ramp that extended to touch Earth's soil. Even from a distance, Elena recognized Thaler immediately. The opalescent skin that seemed to capture and refract sunlight, the graceful four-armed frame, the large, expressive eyes, all just as she had seen in the image he'd shared months ago. Yet seeing him in person, moving with fluid grace as he descended the ramp, was entirely different. Protocol demanded she remain still, letting the official diplomatic team make first contact. Elena bit her lip, forcing herself to stay in place as the Secretary General stepped forward with a prepared speech of welcome. Thaler listened politely, then spoke in a melodic voice that the translation devices rendered into multiple human languages simultaneously. I am honored by this reception and bring greetings from the Meridian Collective. But first, his luminous eyes moved past the dignitaries to find Elena. I wish to personally greet the human whose mind touched mine across the stars. A murmur ran through the crowd as Thaler walked directly to her, officials scrambling out of his path. He stopped just before her, towering nearly 2 feet taller than Elena's 5'8" frame. Up close, she could see subtle patterns shifting beneath his skin like flowing water, and the depth in his eyes that reminded her of looking into the night sky. Commander Elena Reyes, he said, her name sounding musical in his voice. At last, we meet without distance between us. Elena found herself momentarily speechless. All the diplomatic phrases she'd rehearsed vanished. Instead, she raised her hand in the traditional Meridian greeting Thaler had described in their conversations. Knowledge Keeper Thaler. Earth welcomes you, as do I. Thaler mirrored the gesture, but then, to the surprise of everyone, including Elena, extended one slender hand toward her face. He paused, seeking permission with his eyes. When she gave a slight nod, his fingertips gently brushed her cheek. Remarkable, he whispered. Your thoughts, transferred through quantum signals, made me believe I knew you entirely. Yet there is so much more to discover. Later, after the formal welcomes and initial diplomatic exchanges, Elena and Thaler were permitted a private conversation in a garden area adjacent to the facility. Private save for the discreet security personnel and recording devices monitoring from a distance. Your world is beautiful, Thaler said, gazing at the sunset painting the desert in gold and crimson. Louder than mine, brighter, more chaotic. Rather like your species. Elena smiled. Is it what you expected? Nothing could have prepared me for the reality of being here. Of seeing you. He turned toward her, his expression solemn. The council permitted my journey because they believe our connection represents a possibility they had never considered, that emotional resonance might transcend biological boundaries. They see us as an experiment. And what do you see us as? Elena asked softly. Thaler's inner luminescence brightened slightly. A miracle. The mathematical probability of our meeting was infinitesimal. Yet here we are. Here we are, she echoed. But where do we go from here? You'll return to your world eventually. I have duties in orbit. We're from different worlds, he finished. Yes, but not different universes. The space between stars can be crossed. I've proven that. It's not just physical distance, Elena pointed out. Our biologies, our cultures. Will require understanding and adaptation, Thaler agreed. But isn't that the essence of connection? Finding ways to bridge differences? He held out one of his hands, palm up. The Meridian Council has proposed establishing a permanent embassy on Earth, with regular exchanges of knowledge and culture. They've asked me to serve as the first ambassador. Elena's eyes widened. You would stay, if welcome, both by your people and by you. She placed her hand in his, marveling at how right it felt despite their differences, his skin cooler than hers, his fingers longer and more numerous, yet somehow perfectly complementary. In all my years exploring space, Elena said, I never imagined finding someone who would make the universe feel both vastly larger and infinitely more intimate at the same time. Thaler's free hand reached toward her face again, this time with confident tenderness. Among my people, when two beings choose to form a permanent connection, they say, my light recognizes yours across any distance. I like that, Elena whispered. It's true no matter what world you're from. As the desert stars began to appear above them, Elena and Thaler sat side by side, hands intertwined, two beings from different corners of the cosmos who had found something both universal and utterly unique. You know, Elena said with a soft laugh, all of this happened because I pressed the wrong button during maintenance. Thaler's luminescence pulsed warmly. Perhaps it was the right button all along. In the years that followed, as humanity took its first careful steps into a wider galactic community with meridian guidance, historians would debate the significance of that accidental communication. Diplomats would analyze the political implications of the personal relationship that bridged two worlds. Scientists would study the biological adaptations that allowed two different species to forge an intimate bond. But for Elena and Thaler, it remained beautifully simple. Across impossible distances of space, biology, and culture, they had found each other. And in doing so, they had given both their worlds something precious, proof that love, the most human and yet most universal of emotions, could indeed reach across the stars. Commander Reyes, you understand the gravity of this situation. General Hammond's stern face filled the monitor in the conference room. Behind Elena, Station Commander Lewis and the entire senior staff of the ISS Horizon listened intently. We're about to host the first confirmed extraterrestrial visitor in human history, and you're telling me it's here because of your personal relationship? Elena kept her posture rigid, professional. Sir, my communications with Knowledge Keeper Thaler began accidentally, but evolved into a diplomatic channel that proved invaluable during our environmental systems crisis. The Meridian Council's decision to send an envoy represents an unprecedented opportunity for humanity. An opportunity or a threat? Asked the UN Secretary beside Hammond. How do we know this isn't an advance scout for an invasion? Elena felt a flash of indignation. With respect, Madam Secretary, if the Meridians wanted to conquer Earth, they wouldn't send a single diplomat in a research vessel. Their technology is centuries beyond ours. Commander Lewis cleared his throat. Commander Reyes has shared all communications logs. Our analysts confirm no sensitive information was exchanged. Except, apparently, feelings, muttered one of the Joint Chiefs. Elena's cheeks burned, but she held her ground. The emotional connection I formed with Thaler has provided unique insights into Meridian culture. Their society values depth of understanding above all else. This visit is as much a personal journey for Thaler as a diplomatic mission, which makes it unprecedented in their history. After hours of questioning, the conference ended with reluctant approval for Thaler's arrival. Elena retreated to her quarters, exhausted. Her private terminal beeped, a message through the official quantum channel. My journey begins tomorrow, Thaler wrote. The council granted approval, though not without significant debate. I'm sending this through official channels as my personal transmitter will be integrated into the ship systems during transit. I'll be counting the days, Elena replied, careful to keep her message appropriate for what would certainly be reviewed by both human and Meridian authorities. Safe travels, Knowledge Keeper. 3 weeks into Thaler's 4-month journey, Earth was gripped with Meridian fever. News channels ran constant speculations about the visitor. Scientists debated possible biological compatibility issues. Religious leaders issued statements ranging from welcoming to apocalyptic. And Elena found herself both celebrated and scrutinized, the woman who had charmed an alien. I never thought I'd become the poster child for interspecies diplomacy, Elena confided to Lieutenant Ortiz during a maintenance walk outside the station. They were installing additional communication arrays to better receive Thaler's approaching vessel. Could be worse, Ortiz replied through the comm. My abuela sent me a message asking if I could get your alien boyfriend's autograph. Elena nearly dropped her torque wrench. He's not she stopped, realizing she didn't know how to finish that sentence honestly. Infrequent updates arrived as Thaler's ship progressed through space. Each message was formal, technical, clearly written with multiple audiences in mind. Yet Elena found herself reading between the lines, searching for the connection they'd established. Transit proceeding as calculated. Approaching Jupiter's orbital path. Earth's dominant yellow star provides navigation reference. Anticipate atmospheric entry in 27 days. 10 days before arrival, Elena was recalled to Earth. We need our resident Meridian expert on the ground for the welcome ceremony, General Hammond explained, though his tone made it clear this was as much about keeping her under observation as utilizing her expertise. Standing in the NASA Control Center in Houston, Elena watched tracking screens as Thaler's ship entered Earth orbit. Her heart hammered against her ribs. What if their connection didn't translate to physical reality? What if the chemistry that sparked across quantum channels fizzled in person? Meridian vessel has established stable orbit, announced the flight director. They're requesting landing coordinates. Send them, ordered Hammond. Then, to Elena, you're sure about this? About him. Elena watched the blinking light that represented Thaler's ship, and everything she'd come to feel over months of conversations across the stars. No, sir, she answered honestly. I'm not sure about anything, but I believe in what we've built. And sometimes faith is all we have. Well, Commander, Hammond said with a hint of reluctant admiration, in about 6 hours, we'll all find out if your faith was justified. As the landing sequence initiated, Elena's terminal blinked with a message on her private channel, reactivated now that Thaler's ship was in range. Elena, as I approach your world, I find myself experiencing what I believe humans call nervous anticipation. We have connected across unimaginable distance. Soon there will be no distance at all. Whatever happens when we meet, know that this journey was inevitable from the moment you pressed that wrong button. Until very soon, mate. Elena touched the screen one last time, whispering, until very soon.